Hey y'all, welcome to the Pungo Prairie. Can you believe it's already the 1st of March? And what a beautiful March 1st it is here on the Pungo Prairie. You know what they say, in like a lion, out like a lamb, in like a lamb, out like a lion. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some pretty fierce weather by the time the end of March rolls around. But things are starting to green up around here. And when you think of green and you think of March, you also think of St. Patrick's Day, which is right around the corner. Something we did last year for St. Patrick's Day was we smoked up corned beef brisket. Yes, that's right, and served it with cabbage and all the other traditional root vegetables. We even made up an Irish soda bread muffin to go along with it. It was such a huge success that we didn't even make it past 1 o'clock. So this year we're going to try to double up our game and see if we can't get a little bit more prepared, at least stretch it out a little bit closer to supper time. So today we're going to trim up this whole packer beef brisket, which I'm going to separate the flat from the point. We're just going to use the flat, and we're going to make us up a brine. And we got to get our brisket flat in that brine because it has to corn up for 10 days to 2 weeks before we can dry it off and put it in the smoker. So this video is going to be just the technique of how we're going to do it at Pungo Boys BBQ, and maybe you want to learn a little something if you haven't tried this before. But let me tell you, you don't have to brine and cure your own brisket. You can buy a already prepared corned beef brisket in the grocery store and put it on the smoker the way we're going to do it later in a follow-up video to this one. So the first thing we're going to do right now is we're going to make up our brine. And because I like my brine, sort of like I like my women, firmly packed, get a little bit on the sweet side, I got 2 cups of firmly packed brown sugar. Hey girl, buy it on the set. They trying to make a movie over here. And once we got a nice rolling boil going on in there, and all those flavors are waking up and marrying together, that garlic and all those spices, pickling spices and that cinnamon and that salt and that brown sugar. We're just going to turn off the heat. Now while our brine is cooling down, I'm going to see if I can't separate the point from the flat here on our brisket. Now, I might have to do just a little bit of trimming to find where that natural separation is between these two muscles, because they kind of overlap at an angle. It's not just straight down, it's kind of like this away. Just gonna try to go in here easy at first. Now, this is not a knife I would normally use for trimming a brisket, but it's a beautiful Damascus steel blade that my good friend George Sutton gave me. And I like to use things that are gifted me by my friends, if you know what I mean. I just want to make that cut down through there at about 45 degrees. You can start to see what we got going on. Okay, we're just going to take our point here and set it over here on this little other cutting board and get it out of the way for the time being. And I'm going to save this point. I'll trim it up later, and I'm going to smoke it with our own Pungo Boys brisket rub-a-dub Dougie on it, and probably turn it into something like burn-ins for you in another video. Now, some of y'all might be thinking, Dixon, how come you just didn't cut that straight down and square it off? I ain't never seen a piece of corned beef have a tapered edge like that. Well, this one's not either, but believe it or not, there is a method to my madness here. I am going to go ahead and square this off right down like that, okay? And this piece right here, I'm gonna throw in the pot of brine also with the big piece that I'm gonna corn up, and we're gonna use this as seasoning meat for putting in the pot with our cabbage and our root vegetables, along with some of this good old stout ale. Okay, now we're just gonna finish trimming up our flat here. I want to square this off a little bit, and this piece here is going to go in our brining pot as well. And I'm going to take and square this side up. Okay, and I think we got to get this side a little trimmed off as well. Okey-doke. Get that little ragged piece right there. Alright, now some of this fat cap right here is going to have to come off because it's too thick. I'm not going to use the Damascus steel blade for that one. I'm going to come over here with my carving knife where I can just kind of lay that blade kind of flat like that and trim this off a little bit at a time. Okay, we got our flat all trimmed up nice. 5 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, we're just going to take our brisket flat here, set it on this little board with these other trimmed up pieces, and as soon as our brine cools down enough, we're gonna put it in the brine and put it away. We got our brine all cooled down. And I'm just gonna take some of it here, pour it in this little pan, set it aside for a minute. And I'm going to take our brisket that we got all nice and trimmed up, go right on down here in the pan with it. Okay, we're going to take this little bottle opener here and pop the top on this stout ale. And we're going to go right in here, bottle of this ale. Now I'm going to go in with the chunks that we cut off for our seasoning pot when we're cooking the cabbage and all the root vegetables. Go right down in there with it. We got some more. Let's see. Some of this, I don't want to use a whole lot of fat in there, but I think that'll do it. Go on in with some more of our brine, because we want to make sure we have this whole brisket, this flat of this brisket, covered up nice. And just to be sure we got enough ale in there, we're going on in with another bottle. Put a lid on it. And we're going to put this little pan here with our brisket in it in the fridge, and we're going to leave it in there for the next 10 to 14 days. Probably 14 days, we got time. And one thing we're going to do is each day we're going to go in there and we're going to give our brisket flat a flip along with those other trimmed up pieces of meat. And we're going to do that every single day. So that's all we got going on right now. We'll see you back here in another 2 weeks for the smoking process.
Tiger, okay, baby. You want this? Huh? You want this? Easy, easy. Good girl. You was patient while Dad was doing all that filming. Yeah, Daddy, because I knew I was going to get me a cookie. Like, girl, that ain't cookie, that's beef brisket. Daddy, tastes like a cookie to me, Daddy. You want another one? Let's see. Find one that don't have too much fat on it here. Here you go, Tally. Find one that don't have too much fat on it. There you go. Good girl. You good girl. You good girl. Yeah, you good girl. Tally, you got brisket breath.